right about now. Let go. Okay, so good evening, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. I got a little bit of a newer setup. Not a new setup. This is kind of just like my on-the-go setup. It's still my house, but I just got home, so I was like, I don't have time to do like an intricate setup right now. So I'm kind of mic'd up as if I'm snitching on somebody, but I'm not a snitch, I promise. But so tonight is amazing, you guys. This was kind of like that aha moment, and I'm gonna wave at you guys now that I'm on my phone. I'm usually on my computer, so I can't see you guys. So this is called your spending threshold. This is called your spending threshold. So this kind of like came to me, and then I was like, I wonder if this exists, and then I researched it, and it actually is a thing. So this is called your spending threshold. Now, what is a spending threshold? Oh, and by the way, tonight is episode 8. We go live every Thursday at 7. I'm so excited to present this, so that's why I didn't get into it. So but this is for my YouTube people. So and I am your virtual mentor, Izzy, by the way, finance enthusiast, all that stuff. So this is your spending threshold, right? So let's put it like this. A spending threshold, if I had to equate it to music, because a lot of I kind of sort of make music, but in the music making process we have two things that we do with audio, and one of those things is called gating, right? So gating is a process of setting a threshold, and anything below that threshold doesn't make sound. Like, no audio comes through it. It's as if a gate is closing. So alternatively, anything that's above that threshold, the gate gets open. In other words, audio passes through. There's another thing that we do called compression and limiting. Whereas if gating cuts off everything below the threshold, compression and limiting allows everything below the threshold to be heard, or pass through in a sense. But anything that goes above that threshold is either completely like limited, or it is met with some serious attenuation, which is basically like turning the volume down. So what does that have to do with finance? And this is, I have my notes. So I want to give you guys a story. So when I was making money, right, when I was working, I would get my paycheck, and if I was able to save up about $500, right, or if I had $500 that I could spend, I'm on top of the world, right? I'm going spend crazy. I'm spending like crazy, just going spending here, and a lot of times that was music equipment, not realizing that could have been saving that for future, or somewhere down the line Cousin Murphy is going to step in. If you know about Cousin Murphy in episode 1, Cousin Murphy is going to step in, and he's going to, cause problems to where I would have need that money. The money that I would have needed is already gone. So with that said, if I got below like $125 or $250, I would ultimately immediately just go, okay, I need to cut this, I need to stop spending here, I need to save money. Now all of a sudden I'm frugal, right? So another thing, that's part of the threshold, but another thing is when I go to buy something, I would look at it and be like, oh, that's only this much, right? That's only this much, so I can go spend that. Cool, right? Not realizing that only this much amounts, and multiplies over time. So how am I bringing this home? On one hand, when we talk about a spending threshold, right, most of us get 1 to 4 paychecks throughout the month, depending on your pay cycle, and between those paychecks, it's followed by a multitude of expenditures, right? So you get your paycheck, You get one paycheck, and then you spend, and then you get another paycheck, and you spend, right? We basically spend all of our money on bills, right? And then we might go out and have fun the following weekend, only to come back during the week or the next week and say, hey, I don't got as much money as I thought I had, and now I got to live on beans and rice, whether we're forced to or we have to make a conscious decision. Now we're like, I have to live until the next paycheck. And if you guys know me, I teach getting out of the 30-day cycle, or getting out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. So this is one of the ways that we do this. By the way, this is called the rat race. So that's one part of the threshold, right? You make money, you spend, and then all of a sudden you're met with the idea that you don't have as much money as you would like to. So now you kind of like have to cut back things, or you consciously make a decision, or you force yourself. So on the other hand, here's the other part of this. Let's say you go out and you see something that you like. You see something that you want to buy. It catches your eye. It's $50. You spend that, right? No problem. It's only $50, right? But something comes out that you want for $100, and then right away you're probably like, if $100 is a lot to you, now you may go, that's quite a bit of money, right? So what I want you to do is pay attention to that, because that is your buying threshold, right? So you got to look at it as anything at or around or under $50, you probably think, oh, it's only this, right? It's only that. It's only $5. It's only $10. It's only $20. Right up until about $50 or $60. But when this $100 come around, you're like, hey, I might need to think about this, or this may be too much money based on how much money I have or how I feel about it, all of this stuff, right? So what you don't realize is that the whole theme of this is you're losing money, regardless of if you're doing it subconsciously or consciously, right? So if this resonates with you, here's two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to always pay yourself first, right? And the reason why I teach paying yourself first before any bill, right? Because you're probably like, hey, Izzy, I got bills out here. I gotta live. And I get it. We all have bills. I get it. I promise. But paying yourself first is the most important thing that you could ever do financially, right? Before you think about investing anything, before you think about paying anybody, pay yourself first. Okay, what this allows you to do in this case is it's sort of like Paycheck Insurance. Okay, it's Paycheck Insurance in that if you do decide to go crazy, or you spend a lot of money, you don't lose all of your paycheck. Okay, doesn't mean that you go in this money that you saving for yourself and take that out, but all is not lost. You still have some. Now, the ideal is to save about 10% per paycheck, or the equivalent to 1 hour per day. So if you work 8 hours, you need to be saving up the equivalent to 1 hour worth of your pay rate. So if you make $12 to $15 an hour and you work 8 hours, if you work 8 hours, you need to be saving $15 for every day that you work, because part of what you earn is yours to keep. This also forces you to have a lower threshold, okay? A lower spending threshold in that sense. So when you pay yourself first, you're actively saying, I'm going to take care of me and then I'll take care of everybody else. And whatever doesn't get paid, we can either negotiate it, or we're gonna have to figure something out, whether we reduce it or cut it or just completely get rid of it, right? This forces you to actively think on that, and you'll be amazed how quick you adapt to just 10% of your money going into savings. You'll be amazed at how quick you adapt. You'll find out quickly you're probably spending a lot of unnecessary money. And even if it is on bills, you're probably going to actively look at your bills and say, do I really have to pay this much for internet? Do I really have to pay this much for a phone bill? You know, you start thinking about stuff like that. So your threshold is getting lowered when you pay yourself. All right? Because you don't got it to spend. And one last touch on this before I get into the next thing is that you can start small, okay? I'll give you guys kind of like a secret, right? When I first started actively saying that I was going to pay myself, I knew that I was somebody that goes overboard with things, right? So I would go on the deep end. And what I mean by that is, if I'm spending like crazy, right? And I decide, hey, I need to be saving my money, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be saving like crazy. And that kind of has like the opposite adverse effect, because there is a such thing as oversaving. My suggestion, if you're just starting off, is to save as much as you can throw away. Basically, if you were to lose this amount of money, it would not bankrupt you, or you would not bat an eye towards it, okay? And for right now, this can be as small as $10 to $20 to $50 to $100 a month, right? I'll let you guys in on this. When I first started, I was saving about $3 to $5 a month. I'm not joking with you. Like, that's how much I could afford to lose. Now, I'm at a point where I just got paid Wednesday. I saved about 75% of my check. So I'm living on 25% of my paycheck. So, but that doesn't mean that you have to save 75% of your paycheck if you're not ready to do that. I'm at a point now where I gradually got to that point. So start small. Don't be afraid to, look at it this way. If you got only $1 left to save, if you only have $1 to save a month, you're $1 richer than you were a month ago. And according to the compound effect, if you just continue to do that, you get what I'm saying? Within a year, you'll have $12. It's not a lot, you know what I'm saying? But if you're putting it in something that does compound interest, you could start seeing money on top of money, you know? So, but just imagine doing that. The idea is to do that and start now, and then gradually get to that point. You don't want to be so caught up in how much you're saving. I'm going on a rant about that because I'm adamant about that. You know, that's something that I take to heart. I encourage everyone to pay themselves first. Okay, so the second thing, and the last thing, is to consciously set a higher account threshold and set a lower spending threshold. Now, that might sound like the same thing. I get it. Buying and spending. That sounds like the same exact thing. But I hope you understand the context in which I'm saying this. So, basically, right? When you get your money, you want to be focused on saying, what's my account limit? How much can I spend per paycheck? Okay? And when you see yourself getting at that point, you need to definitely be saving and figuring out how you can cut costs, right? The idea is to go from here at that threshold to up here. So if you make $1,000 and you start to get frugal at $200, I want you to make $1,000 and now get frugal at about maybe $500 or $600, you know. And like I said, start small. Maybe it's from $200 to $300, then you go up. But if you can, I make $1,000 every 2 weeks, right? I make about $1,000 every 2 weeks. I get paid every week, so I get I get about $500 every week. My threshold is set at about $30. I kid you not. Like, because I'm living on a week-to-week basis now, I'm like, I don't really have to spend all $500 in a month. Hence why I'm able to do 75% savings. So, that 25%, I'm only spending I only have about $120 to spend, or somewhere around $100 to spend, but that doesn't mean that I spend that much. I get a threshold at about $30. You know what I'm saying? So that's the idea that I'm getting at when I talk about an account threshold. Now, with your buying threshold, you might have heard me say this a lot when I talk about the 24-hour rule. Now, here's a little bit more in depth on that. So my buying threshold right now is at about $50, which basically means that anything below $50, I'm kind of like, hey, is what it is. If it makes sense, by the way, if it makes sense, I'm like, hey, here we go. I'll throw it at it, right? If it makes sense. Anything above $50, it gets a 24-hour review, okay? And if I still can't decide, sometimes it takes up to a week. However, I've been lately doing it at about $30. Like I said, that's that gradual, threshold spending. That's that threshold buying. It's gradual, you know what I mean? So eventually, I'm about to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I got all my groceries that I need. Now, I'm probably only going to spend about $10 a week. You know what I mean? So, and that sounds crazy, but when you get to a certain point, you don't get there overnight. You just gradually get down to that point. So right now, I'm still comfortably at $50, but I am literally going down as I'm talking to you guys about this. I'm gradually going down about every 2 to 3 weeks, right? Because don't have to spend that much money. So, and here's how this works. So when you see something, right? When you see something you want to buy, you look at the price, right? And right when you look at the price, subconsciously, one of two things may happen, right? You either buy it because it only costs this much, or you deem it too costly based on how much money you have, how much money you want, or even how you feel at the time. I always tell you guys, buying is an emotional decision. Doesn't matter what you're buying, it's always an emotional decision. So again, next time that you do this sort of thing, next time you come across this situation, pay attention, all right? What is your limit? What is that point where you're like, hey, this might be too much money? Or if you can remember or be conscious about it, at what point did I say, this is just this much and I'm just going to spend it? Or when did I just pull out my credit card or debit card without thinking about it and just bought something? Pay attention to those numbers, okay? And then you want to be constantly adjusting these, all right? So, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys were excited to learn this information as much as I was excited about teaching this. And just to kind of put it out there, this is sort of kind of like overall blanket advice. I don't know you guys' personal situation. The only way that I can sorry, I'm looking at my likes. The only way that I can fully explain to you how you should go about with your finances is for me to become your finance coach. So if that's something that you're looking to do, just DM me, to see how we could be a good fit. I work on debt management. I work on your relationship to money. I work on just basic personal finance. I don't teach investing. I don't teach because my investing is basic. It's not that I don't care for it or that you shouldn't do it, but at this point, at this stage, you know, I believe that you should get the personal finance before you get into investing. And my approach to that is to change your behavior and relation when it comes to money. So I, you know, teach habit forming and habit change and things like that. So send me a DM if that's something you want to get into. Or you can book a session at Financial Coach. You can book a 30-minute call at financialcoachizzy.com/NMM. And I'd be happy to get on a Zoom call with you. We'll talk for about maybe 15-30 minutes and discuss pretty much what we can do and all of those things. Also, check out my YouTube channel. I post right now. I'm posting the recaps, but I will be back with some more videos, kind of like some more longer explainer videos that, you know, are longer, too long for a Facebook Live, but they're really in depth, and I really think that you'll get a lot of information out of this. Also, I am an Audible affiliate. I'm throwing all these alsos out. I am an Audible affiliate, a proud Audible affiliate at that. And the book that I've been rereading this week is The One Thing by Gary Keller. It talks about going into what you truly should be doing, and how success is not the combination of large things. Success is doing just few things, or maybe in this case just one thing well, right? And if you focus on that one thing with the gazelle-like intensity, you would be able to see massive results. So success comes when you hone in on what you should be doing and not what you could be doing. So when I talk about finances, I want you to be focusing on personal finance, or the financial literacy. And if you want to get a copy of that book, you can get a copy of that book for free. Like I said, I am an Amazon affiliate, and yeah, you can check out the website financialcoachizzy.com. I forgot I am on the phone, so I don't have that link readily available, but that link to get a free Audible book is on my website. So check it out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next Thursday at 7 p.m. Until next time, peace. Yeah.